Hello and welcome back to the Final Fantasy Tactics All Oracles Challenge, recorded here in April of 2022. Hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you are. Settle in for a bit of a longer battle here as we head to the final gauntlet of battles here, the Underground Book Storage 4th floor. This one's against a group of enemies. Most of the battles down here are going to be single targeting fights, but this is one of the few that is an all targeting battle. This is Roefel here, who is telling these guards to stand guard here, keep us out of the underground book storage floors, going deeper and deeper. We've been to the first few floors of the underground book storage earlier in the game, and then now we are heading down to the bottom. I do like that some of the floor tiles are actually large books if you look closely. I think there's some special geomancer abilities that are tied to book, which is pretty funny. This is a big group of battles. This is a Yoichi bow right here, an awesome bow here on that archer. That archer is actually going to be a big problem if we don't deal with him quickly, because he can arc his shots right over that stack of books, and he can be plinking us all day. Even though we do have a regen on 4 of our 5 characters, it's not going to be enough to overcome quite that much HP, especially when combined with the monks, who could have the potential to do things like Earth Slash, and the knights, who might be doing things like throwing stones at us, or they might have some wonky abilities as well. So in the preliminaries here, our setup, we're just kind of counting tiles, seeing where we are, seeing where we can move. I think my setup here has the mantles on for some evasion. These longer kinds of fights, I do like the mantles just to prevent some of the damage coming in at us. Unfortunately, they don't really work when you're charging, because this group spends so much time charging. I'm doing this wait in order to draw the enemies towards me and then hope to get some actions quickly after them. So hopefully these enemies start moving at us. The archer, thankfully, comes up quite a bit here, and we're going to take advantage of that. Now, if I had just moved up and started charging spells, that archer would have a much easier time, because we'd have 5 oracles all charging spells while he got his turn. So at the beginning of the battle, when everyone kind of starts equal on their CT, it's not advised normally to just kind of charge at the enemies and start charging spells, because they're going to get turns right away before you can get stuff off. But as it happens here, when I wait, the enemies are going to move. They're going to have used up an action in their turn, so their CT is not going to be as high as ours, so we are going to have a bit of a speed advantage now. It's one way at the beginning of a fight that you can kind of pick up a little bit of an edge if you need one, and in this case, I really do need one. Now, the reason this is a longer fight, if you want a spoiler for later on, is just that some of our spells just have a real hard time landing. We have some compatibility things, and I think probably some gear evasion kinds of things as well. There might be some mantles coming around with these guys. They might have some magic evade that just makes it hard to land stuff on them. I have to say, it's pretty tough in this fight. So when you see Paralyze not wanting to land, that's because we have Thief Hat. So Thief Hat's going to stop them from the don't move and don't act. And also you can see there's an elf mantle on those guys. So the mantles are not as high quality as they could be, but they are going to provide them some evasion. So it's going to be hard to land our stuff. And this party, especially with the going in with the defensive strategy of the bags, they cannot really do damage any other way but drain life. And of course, they can use Paralyze or Petrify, but the monks can actually heal that with some of their stuff. So I got to be careful on the Petrifies, because the monks will be able to heal that, as we'll see in a little bit. So that knight there has Throwstone. That is not an issue for us at all. Throwstone damage will be easily overcome by the regen status. And that's a knight that I must not have very good evasion, because that one we can land stuff on. But a lot of these speedier enemies down here, we're just going to have a hard time landing things. The one monk using Defend is actually great for us, because he is going to take an even bigger CT penalty. Defend is one that it's an action for you, so it kind of drains your CT down to 0, as if you had moved and done an action instead of just move and wait. Okay, so that monk's in Don't Act, so he's going to be a little while before he's going to be too much of a problem for us. We've got another one targeting on him here. Let's see if the second one lands. Sure does. Cool. I guess there's some experience. Maybe I'll get another level before we get things going down here to the bottom. All right, so that knight's going to block it. That could be shield with magic evade. But guarded means that something did block it, so a shield or a mantle or some kind of magic evade equipment gave it a block there, I believe. Okay, so here's this archer again. Now, so he has a charging target right there. And you can see that's who he goes for because he's going to have 100% to hit a charging target. So hopefully that archer does not get too many more turns, especially while we have characters charging, because he gets a damage boost and he gets the advantage of 100% accuracy. Because that archer does not have concentrate on because we saw him miss a shot already. That's something that this game, when you do see archers in this one, they could actually really be brutal if they had the concentrate skill on, which comes right there natively from the archer. They could be really, really effective if they had that. And I think that's maybe why the game designers maybe kept that off a little bit, because that might be a little bit overpowered. Of course, that's a subtle nod to my all archers run that I did of this game a couple years ago. So if you want to check that out, you can go find that on my channel. I went through this entire game with just archers. It was pretty cool. They have, despite what seems to be a pretty limited ability and equipment set, they actually are fairly flexible. There's a few things that they're missing on, obviously, but they can be pretty flexible. You can do a lot of different things with them because their ability to do longbows or crossbows and shields, and then their charging abilities as well are pretty sweet. Anyway, back to this battle, you can just see why this is going to take a little bit because so many things are such a low chance to land. We got a lot of 30 and 20% spells on these guys, and we have a lot of these guys, so we're going to have to land a lot of spells on these guys in order to take them out. And the monks are not going to be helping things because monks have access to both chakra for that, and also they have another heal spell. I can't remember the name of their status healing spell, but monks have kind of been a pain for me throughout this entire game, actually. When I see monks pop up, monks are almost like a chemist when they show up. So this one's going to throw... ooh, it's actually going to really throw. I thought it was going to be a wave fist, but it actually has the throw ability from Ninja, borrowed from the Ninja, throwing the Yagyu Darkness. That's the highest level shuriken you can throw in this game. You'll see enemies throw some really random stuff in this game. Sometimes you'll see them throw like partisan spears and weird things just from random job classes. In that case, it was just a pretty vanilla ninja throwing star. Here's Ramza just looking to see what he can do. And you can see, I can glance at that monk. That monk is a Taurus, and Ramza is a Taurus. So that's one that I do know off the top of my head. That is worst compatibility because you've got the male, and the same zodiac sign is worst compatibility. So characters usually have worst compatibility with themselves. So when you're trying to cast boosts or buffs on yourself, you're going to have worst compatibility, I believe. So that's one that I do know when I see the Taurus symbol. Most of the other symbols I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't know what their interactions are. It just has never become super critical in this game. There may be a battle here in the final segment, not to give away too much. There may be some battles here in the final segment that require me to get a little bit better with that system, but nothing as of yet. Just hasn't been something that I've really needed to pay attention to in order to win a fight. So that knight in paralyzed status is just going to back up. And here I'm going for the life drain on the archer. Very good, thank you. And it's just tough to land stuff on these guys. So my oracles down here are going to have to start moving a little bit in order to get their MP back, because I've got move MP up. So I've got to keep them moving in order to keep their MP pools nice and full. And looking at all of these spells that take so long, because we have so many speedy characters. Those monks and the archer are pretty fast. Knights not so much, but the monks and archers are all pretty speedy, especially with the thief hat equipment that the archer has on. Life Drain does the nice double effect of damaging them, and it gives me a little bit of HP, so I can kind of survive more Yoichi bow attacks coming in, because I've got 4 oracles charging right now, and here comes the archer's turn. So here comes Brett, and Brett's really got his pick of who he wants to go for. I think he's probably just picking whoever he has the best compatibility with. But you can see 100 damage in it at a time is not great. So here's Petrify going up here. That had a fairly good chance to land, and it's unfortunate that one missed. I would have liked to have landed that one, just so that we could have him out of the way. He's in Don't Act status, but that one doesn't last very long. Petrify is much more permanent unless the monks can get over there and heal him. But I don't anticipate the monks wanting to get all the way over to where he is unless they get paralyzed themselves. Then they might also retreat. And then when they come out of Don't Act status, they might be close enough to him to do it. But I would imagine the monks would probably stay more aggressive if we had a paralyzed character way off to the side. I would guess the monks would probably stay in our neighborhood. Just a hypothesis. So you can see this monk is retreating not to the upper part, but to the lower part. So this one we're trying to land Paralyze on, and that one is blocked. So there might be mantles, shenanigans going on with that guy too. Might have an elf mantle on. Okay, the archer is petrified, but the monks are nearby, so we've got to try to take care of that as well, as quickly as we can. Okay, we're drawing the knight down towards us, but the knight can't quite get to us. You'll see a few times in this fight, I might not point it out when I see it every time, but sometimes I will try to move just enough spaces away from those knights, like 5 tiles away from those knights, so that they can't move 3 and then get to us. Because 3 is the base move stat for characters in this one, especially characters like those knights. So if I can stay 5 tiles away from those knights, they can't move 3 and come to me, but generally they'll be aggressive enough to kind of chase us down. We can kind of keep them coming towards us, but as long as they can't get within 1 tile of us, they can't hit us. So you'll see me do that a couple times. I remember as I was doing this one, I was just looking for knights because we could target spells on them, and then I could move myself back out of their range so that they could come towards us, towards a charging character, but not be able to quite hit us. So now I've got a couple of enemies to deal with up here. We've got to try to get that monk out of commission. Got to get him out of business here. So that's a pretty good, solid Petrify percent. 40% is pretty good for Petrify on a character. So I'll have to remember that compatibility. That combination right there is pretty nice. Mantle or no mantle. You may also notice the experience in JP is turned back on. I turned that on for some random battling I did before coming down here, and I forgot to turn it off. And once you are down here in this part of the game, down in this final crawl, you can't turn that off, unfortunately. You have to do that from the world map menu, and down here in the final the final gauntlet of battles, you never see the world map again. So I couldn't, at least in my thing, I couldn't find a way to get to the settings of the game settings to turn that back off. So we're going to be watching that for the rest of the game, unfortunately. That's okay, though. Hopefully we can handle it. So she's got pretty low chance to land it on that knight. Looking to see what she might be able to land. Paralyzed is looking a little better. And now I have to move, again, far enough away that that knight can't move to us, both to attack us, but also to get us to targeting with that with the paralyze. Now, we're a step down, so even if the knight could get 1 tile away from us, it wouldn't be able to target us. But if we were flat on the same level and he could walk down to us, he could hit us and then target a paralyze on us as well. So let's see if we can petrify that monk. That one missed. Ramza had not as good a chance, I don't think, but this one has that 40% chance to land. And that one is going to land. Very cool. So I've got an archer up there who is petrified, and I have this monk who is petrified as well. There's one more monk to worry about, and last we saw him, he was retreating in his Don't Act status. He was running away from the main fray of the battle. So this is a couple of fewer throws or wave fists that we're not going to have to worry about. Let's take care of this knight if we can. And then hopefully we can do something about the other monk when he re-enters the battle. That's kind of the idea with Paralyze, is it makes the enemies kind of run away, so you can deal with the enemies that stick around, and it delays so that the other enemies, they take a few turns running away. Don't Act will expire, and then they usually will take a couple of turns to move back into range for you, so you can maybe deal with the other guys, but it depends on how likely your spells are to land. If you're able to get things to take these guys out, either your 4 life drains or your single petrifies, to land on these guys. So that monk is out of Don't Act status, so now he's used 1 action moving towards us. He's probably got 2 more actions before he can get to us. Because of where he is, he's a good amount of horizontal away from us, but also there's a big vertical wall there, so he's going to have to move to where the wall is lower so he can use his jump. They're pretty good about movement and jumping, but not that good. So we're trying another one on that knight. She moved to pick up some MP, and of course she ends her turn with the regen. So there is Paralyze on that knight. Very good. That knight's not going to be able to hit us. So here's where I can more safely move her closer if I want to, and it looks like I want to, because I know at least in the next couple of rounds that knight's not going to be able to hit her. So she's also going to target Petrify on that knight. Hopefully we can get these guys petrified, and then we can chase down those last few stragglers and end this battle. So Ramza's coming up. He's going to be just checking the timing of Petrify, checking the hit percent of Petrify every time if he can. So now we're going to target another one on him. That knight seems to have a little bit better chance to land. Obviously, your chance to land depends on lots of things. It depends on the faith of those characters. So high faith characters are easier to land, and also their magic evasion and your compatibility with zodiac signs. So some of those things are a little bit random, or at least they're random within range or parameters in this game. And she can't quite reach that one after her move. And the MP they're picking up is not as good as a full spell, so even if they're moving every turn, eventually they will kind of start to get low on MP. Because things like Paralyze takes 10, Petrify takes 16 MP. Drain Life, I think, also takes 16. It's also a pretty good chunk of MP from you. So when we move, we're only picking up like 9 or 10, I think, on the MP. Because we don't have all the wizard gear on. We don't have all the big MP boosting gear. We've got all the HP boosting stuff so that our regens do better to heal us. So here comes a knight. He's going to go after a charging character, so he got a turn right there because we couldn't quite reach him where he was, but he could get down to where we are, and got a pretty good smack on that charging oracle, unfortunately. But a couple of drain lives and she'll be fine. And of course the regen has her pick up like 38-ish every action, even every turn, even if she doesn't take an action, even if she just waits, she'll get the 38 HP at the end of her turn. So whether she moves, whether she acts, whatever she does, it's right there. So her Petrify fails, the one that I was charging. And now she's going to charge one on this guy. And unfortunately, she can't move out of the range there, but she'll have enough to survive another charging attack unless he crits. If it does the same amount of damage, even if she didn't hit this Drain Life, which she does, then she would have just enough to survive another hit. That's what I remember calculating, that she could move there, and if he got a turn, he'd be fine. But the Drain Life obviously is way more than enough now. So she's good, plus she's not charging anymore. Drain Life has a really fast charge time compared to Paralyze and Petrify. Petrify especially. So here's Ramza. He's going to charge another spell and move back. He's going to try to pick up some MP. And I guess we're just rotating our character. We're just kind of targeting the Petrifies and then moving everybody back. And then letting the enemy move up to us. Target a bunch of Petrifies and move everyone back. That's pretty fun. Okay, another knight moving up to us, and here comes the monk. He's getting close to being able to engage with us again. Except he's not going to engage with us, he's going to engage with the other monk, and he is going to heal the other monk out of Petrify status. So this is what I was talking about before, the monks being just big troublemakers in this game, where they can heal my Petrify, so it does not quite work like the instant KO that it does in most battles, because they have the ability to recover from it. And chemists, of course, can throw softs and remedies around, and they can pop you with their bang bangs. So now with these monks, I've got to figure out what's the best way to go with these guys. Is it to drain life them or to petrify them? Petrify can be recovered in just one shot by theirs, but also remember, monks can have chakra, and chakra can recover HP. So if they do get an action when they're in critical, they could choose to do chakra. So we want to try to rush them down through their critical range if indeed we want to explore that. So this monk right now is not in critical range. He's going to move to do looks like a throw. Yeah, he's going to throw an octagon rod at us. Pretty funny. So he's going to move to do a throw, but if he had gotten an action and he was in critical or hypercritical, then he may do chakra. So we got to try to, before he gets another turn, we want to land a couple of drain lives on him. He's already taken a little bit of damage. So between drain lives or maybe Ramza can attack him with his own octagon rod, which is what we're equipped with. So I think, yeah, 2 drain lives will do it. 88 is going to be 176, I think, is what that's going to be. Yeah, so it should be just enough to take him out. He's halfway down. So again, the case of these Petrifies just continuing to miss, even though we've got like a 40, 46%, close to a 50-50 shot on these guys. Okay, so there's 1 drain life landed on that monk right there. And that one's got a pretty low chance to land. Here's Ramza looking at this guy. He's got a better chance on this monk right here. He's going to do a wait, so he's not going to pick up MP, but he's going to get an action faster. And here's another look at what we can do. 75% to finish that monk off and hopefully keep him down. Unless he gets a unlucky revive. Unless we get an unlucky revive from another character. Okay, here we go. So here is a drain life on this monk. So he was still close to full health because I think we landed the paralyze on him fairly early in the battle. Okay, and here is a Petrify on this knight, trying to get him out of the fight for a couple of rounds at least, although I probably should change tactic here now that I've got 2 monks active in this fight who could heal the Petrify status at any moment. I might want to switch to life drains on these guys. So she's trying to get under the life drain. It's going to go off right now. Maybe we'll knock him down. Try to keep him out of the fight a little bit if we can. It is going to hit and it is going to knock him down. So that's going to be a little bit harder to recover from than the Petrify. And so you can see Feather Mantle gives them the big, and that's got a Dracula Mantle. So there's mantles all around on this fight. That's why we've got such good evasion from these guys. They're like dodging all of my stuff. And it's something that you don't really notice on casual playthroughs because so many things you do on a casual playthrough, especially with Orlandeau at this part of the game, you've got ranged damage that is huge damage, and it is generally goes around any evasion that you want. So, you know, Agrius, a high-level Agrius, and just Orlandeau as you get him. Here's another heal of Petrify right there. So I've got 3 knights engaged in the battle again. Thank you, Monk. That Monk is really being a bee in the bonnet today. But yeah, so many things in this game for casual players, you don't really notice the impact that this evasion can have in the later part of the game until you're using kind of an underpowered class like this. And on my last challenge run, of course, the archers, again, I mentioned it before, they get concentrate so they can get around all of these mantles. So for the archers, enemies having mantles is basically just a benefit because they are using they're using a piece of gear that is doing nothing for them. It's giving them no abilities, no resistances, no evasion because the concentrate gets around all of it. So with the archers, I actually wanted to see mantles on characters. It didn't matter to me. I was able to pop them right through it. Okay, so now we're switching to a full-on damage model because paralyzes are just petrifies are too tricky to land, and that monk is going to just be able to 100% heal petrifies all day long. So now I've just got all these characters just going to be charging up drains as much as we can. And I just hope that monk stays aggressive on us and does not back up to heal the archer out of petrify status. That would be a real bummer. That'd be a bad day if he goes back there to heal that archer. So we're not having a problem staying alive. We're not having a problem doing damage. We're running lower on MP from some characters because we've taken a few actions without moving. And also, as I said before, you're still running at a deficit when you act and move, even if you do it every turn because life drain takes so much. it takes more MP than we have. And the enemies are all kind of right up here in our face now. We're at that stage of the battle. We're no longer paralyzing guys and having them run away. Everybody's right up here. So we've got 3 characters kind of right up in our face. So we can't take them on one at a time now, which is another kind of inevitable end when you're in these battles where you're outnumbered. Did we have 6 characters in this one? Yeah, I think we had 6. It was 6 on 5. And you wouldn't think that 1 character advantage would be that good. But remember, the monk has already healed 2 characters out of what normally would be permanently KO status. So we should just have 1 character left on here. But the monk's already really done his part. He's done his damage. Okay, so there's that monk down. So now this battle is much safer because that monk had all of the utility abilities. These knights are just going to be attackers now. And when we're not charging, the knights have a much lower chance to land. Now that one happened to land his swing for 140 on that oracle right through the mantle, attacking in the front right through the mantle. So here's Ramza going to check about petrifying. Now it's safe to petrify, but we could also just do life drains. But it would be safe to use Petrify now that the monks are gone. So we'll see if what we want to do with that information. Yeah, that guy just is a little bit harder for him to, or for anybody to land on that knight right there. 57 for life drain is quite low at this point in the game for us. Okay, so we're picking up some HP. Plenty of JP, but we used the JP scroll glitch way back at the beginning of the game, so we have not needed JP since we unlocked the oracles. We took the oracles right to mastered status immediately. So I don't even know where we've long ago mastered this job class, and so we're not able to spend all this JP, even though we underflowed it with the glitch. So she's just going to move and hang out. Partly also because she would be in range of them moving. So that was one of the reasons that I had her wait. Also, she got her MP boosted up there. So she got 24 MP next turn. She can charge something. But I knew that they were going to be getting a turn soon. So if I just wait, then she is able to defend herself with the mantle. That KO'd knight there is going to also help us because that's a tile that the enemies can't stand on. And the knights have just a 1-tile attack radius. Range. So that knight is going to serve as a safe square, so she can stand behind that safe square and the knights can't quite get to her. They'd have to walk around that knight to get to her side. So we may use that as a bit of a bit to our advantage. We'll see in the last part of this fight. And so she has 11 MP even after moving. So she's going to have to wait until she can move again and pick up a little bit more MP. But she did get her HP back, some of it, from getting that big smack from the knight there for 140. So here's Ramza. He's charging, and he is going to move. He's going to be a little bit farther away from them. He's not quite out of attack range, so he would be vulnerable if they wanted to move down and attack. But I think if we are full health or close to full health, it's not that risky for us. Look at all those life drains being charged. I think I'm just going for life drains towards the end here. It's just easier to land them on one of the guys, and then the paralyzed probably would be a 1 in 5. If it's a 20%, it'd be a 1 in 5 chance to land. Sometimes it's still a better choice because it's better to try to land 1 shot at that's 20% than having to land 3 or 4 spells that are at 50%. Because you stack them 50% times 50% times 50%, even 3 is 12.5%, which is of course lower than 20 because you have to multiply them or add them together. So the math of this game is kind of tricky. We do have some single targeting battles coming up, so they're going to be a little bit shorter than this one has been. We've got some interesting battles coming up. I can tell you, having recorded some of them as I'm recording this one. I haven't recorded the entire finish of the game yet, but some of them are going to be quite interesting, I can already tell you. It's going to be kind of fun as we go here towards the summer of 2022 and hopefully finishing up this game as we go towards our summer events. Let's see if we can land a life drain or 2 to finish things off in this battle. There it is. That is the Underground Book Storage 4th floor. If you've been liking this series, which is coming to a close, hit that thumbs up button on the video, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment, or hit me up on Twitter, active_ATE. We will see you next time as we head towards the final conclusion of this game.